Daisy's all about the pranks.
Little monster.
We gotta start pranking Daisy more.
Yeah, we definitely got to start pranking her ass more. But I don't know. I feel like if we were to prank her in the way like the fear kind of pranks, where we jump out of trash cans and I feel like she would suffer trauma from that shit.
Nah, she'd get into it. She'd just start doing it to us, and then we'd be like, "What have we created?
Word.
It's a monster."
Yeah, we definitely would. Yeah, I think it would backfire very fast.
Well, this is the intro. Introducing.
This is the intro.
What was
So,
that?
you remember when we were in Florida and I had to not for
Jailbreak your computer?
I was trying to not use that term, but yeah, for lack of a better term, jailbreak my computer. So now whenever it restarts, it goes to that screen. You remember that screen?
Yeah.
It was like, this operating
Developer's
system,
mode.
right? This operating system is not turned on. Do you want it? Press this button to turn it on. So every time I don't, it sends that message every time you restart the computer now, and that is the normal way it sounds now, because it always gives me this message with that like alert, like, hey, motherfucker, you should probably look to this.
Are you done developing?
And so that's a normal startup. It makes a giant loud beeping sound like it's going to explode.
That's just the startup, though.
That's just the startup. Beep, beep. Yeah.
You have 10 seconds to comply.
This mission, should you choose to accept it. Boom.
Well, I'm your host, Lawrence Dial.
And I'm your boy, Rob Karma Robinson.
And this is What We Into.
Week 37, I
Seven,
believe.
yeah, week 37.
Oh my God, we are fast approaching both our life expectancies. Just kidding.
We are fast approaching our last episode, which is 38.
It's wait, are we?
No.
Oh God, no, that's scary. Don't say that shit, bro.
No.
I
The fact that
was
we're
like,
here
what?
this week, I think, says a lot to our dedication.
I mean, I feel like this is I feel like we've gotten into a groove with this thing recently. So I mean, I roll out of bed ready to do this stuff now. I'm like,
banging it out.
Let's bang this out. What do we got?
We went to it last night at 11 o'clock at night.
And I'd say, I honestly thought that you weren't going to make it. And there was a point in the movie where I heard a motherfucker snoring, and I kept looking over at you. I was like, is that Lawrence? Are you?
You
but
thought...
no, I saw you were definitely like engaged. I think we were both engaged because this was a 3-hour movie.
What, ladies and gentlemen, you didn't see is that he did like kind of a hand movement, like I was eating the whole time.
Well, you fucking were.
Which was
the fucking whole time. Well, were you chewing gum at one point? Because I looked over and I was like, is he asleep? Because I kept hearing snoring, and I just saw your mouth going.
That was the dude to the far right of us, I think.
Some guy was just out. He was sawing logs hard. Like it was kind of like this ventriloquist kind of snort, because I kept thinking it was coming from you. So I kept looking at Joe. I was like, that's clearly not Larry, but where? And I couldn't see him, is what I'm saying. I couldn't see the guy.
No, if I want to stay awake for a movie that's 2 hours and 49 minutes long, and it starts at 11 o'clock.
Do you get stoned?
Yeah, of course. That, but then I also eat a bunch. If I keep the eating coming in, the popcorn and the candy, that'll keep me up, and the soda, and then your mouth gets all like kind of flared up in trash. So that's when you chew some gum.
I know there were definitely points in the movie where I looked over, I was like, damn, I wish the motherfucker would just offer me a kernel.
I offered you at the beginning.
You offered me candy. I didn't want any fucking candy.
Why did you say so? I don't want popcorn.
Because I made such a big deal about not taking the fucking candy.
No candy.
I didn't want to be like, hey, why don't you pass that bag of popcorn?
I was just in there gluttonously eating the entire thing.
At one point, I thought about reaching over and just pulling the bag slowly out of your view, but I didn't. Like, at one point, I was like, oh man, he finished the bag, and then like 2/3 of the way through the movie, you opened up again. I was like, fuck. I should have went for that bag.
Because the movie was so long. I got stuffed.
You rationed out your popcorn.
I got sick. And then I got better and ate more.
You were eating nothing but like butter and sugar for the first third of the movie.
For 2 hours straight.
Oh my God.
And then I took a 15-minute break.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it. I was like, how? I was like, bro, no wonder. Like, okay, so that it makes so much sense. Like, the last time I was over here, the last podcast we did last week, the girls and Joe's kids were hanging out. And I come in and I'm talking to Little Monster, and Daisy's like, "Hey, come let me show you this." And she was making like lollipops or something. Yeah. And I was like, "Babe, I don't want to see you just make sugar on sugar." Because she got like she's molded like the lollipop, and then she has like the different sugar liquids. Yes. That like I was like, "Babe, you're just eating sugar. You're giving yourself diabetes. You know that, right?"
I forget
She's
what
like, "What's diabetes?"
It's called like sugar sip or something like that. Sugar sour sip.
And she was in there throwing like Gatorade and ginger ale. So more, I was like, "So babe, you're just adding sugar to sugar on top of sugar?" She's like, "Yeah."
Yes, I am.
That's exactly.
But she wanted it. I was actually kind of proud because she wanted to make her own candy.
No, it was cool.
Like how do you? She was like, "How do I make my own candy?" And I was like, "Oh, it's all sugar." She's like, "Can I have some?" I was like, "Yeah, sure, whatever." That candy was like a lollipop that you squeeze out like sour sugar gel over the top and then lick it. It's like one of those disgusting.
Yeah, like I don't know how the FDA was like, yeah, kids should have that.
Yeah, exactly. I had 4 of them last night while watching it. Next movie when I'm like, "Hey, you want anything?" And you're like, "No," I'm bringing back you a hot dog and nachos.
I just really wanted just a handful of popcorn, and that would have been totally my jam. Because I would have needed a handful of popcorn, a sip of your Coke, and I'd have been fine for the rest of my life.
I even set the Coke for a while between us without a lid, so you don't even have to use the same straw.
I was like, man, I'm gonna let my man rock. Because I mean, when you sat down, you just started going in, bro. You were like, popcorn. You were like, M&M's are made for sharing, bro. I was like, no, I'm good, man. I'm just gonna have this half a Twix.
That Twix is old too.
I know.
That Twix
it was. I couldn't break it apart.
I know.
Did you see me hit it? Yes. I hit it on the cup holder to start. I was like, damn, pink, trying to separate the two. It did not separate. I was
going to give you shit and be like, "You've ruined my Twix."
There was no way of ruining it. That thing was already ruined.
That's like what happens when you buy shitty candy at like a gourmet deli that doesn't sell that kind of candy that often. It just sits there and it goes bad. It was stale. It was the cookie.
The cookie was. It had an unsatisfying crunch.
The worst Twix I've ever had in my life.
Jeeves, this is the worst Twix I've ever had. Please take it back. Take it back.
Now rub the Vaseline on my tummy.
Yeah, but yeah.
There's been some news.
There has been. It's been the news. It's been kind of a Nintendo news heavy week in my world.
Yes,
I've been getting a lot of like. Nintendo did a bunch of shit this week.
Yeah, they did.
For you guys who are Switch owners.
Yeah. So let me think if it. I know there's some Star Wars games coming to the Nintendo Switch.
There are. They actually just added, I guess, most of the canon of the Super NES to their online.
Right. I've played a lot of those recently, though. Like, I played Super Metroid on the Wii U. I played Legend of Zelda Link to the Past. And there's some other good Super NES games. But in general, unless you haven't played them in 20 years, you're fine. It's okay.
Not worth it, then, is what you're saying. Not like...
Those 2 games are great. Super Metroid, Link to the Past, maybe 1 or 2 other Super NES games, and that's it. You're not missing much.
Banjo-Kazooie?
Nah.
Let's see here. Kirby?
Nah.
No Kirby.
It's fine. Okay. I mean, whatever.
Okay.
What else you got?
Divinity Original Sin 2?
Oh, that's coming to Switch?
Yep.
That would be hard. That's like a kind of a tactical PC RPG game that you normally use a mouse for. So when you go from using a mouse to like using a controller, a console controller, it can get kind of like sketchy. So using it on the Switch might be even worse or might be fine. But that game's supposed to be amazing.
I've heard nothing but great things about it.
Like 9.5 out of 10.
I've never played any of those.
Nah, me either.
You know what else got it close to a 9 this week was Gears of War, which also dropped. Yeah,
Xbox, right?
Mm-hmm. Exclusive. And you've never played any of those, so it means nothing to you. But it's sort of it's probably like the longest running third person shooter for that system at this point, like longer than Halo at least.
It's all they got.
Yeah,
it's all Xbox has got. So good for you guys. You put out a good game, Xbox.
Yeah, I mean one that really doesn't reinvent the wheel. They take what the existing kind of system of the third person shooter that Gears of War is, and just kind of
That's a duck and cover shooter, right?
Yeah, it's a cover-to-cover kind of thing. But it's really well done. The voice acting is always really top-notch. I forget the name of that voice actor who does the voice for the main guy.
Who is he? I feel like I know his name.
Yeah, he's one of the more recognizable cats, I think.
Gears of War voice actor. I just have to know right away. Marcus Phoenix?
Yeah, Marcus Phoenix.
Yeah.
Done by something DiMaggio or
John
something?
DiMaggio.
Yeah.
Lester Spiegett. Fred Tatasciore. Robin Atkins Downs.
Oh, that was the sort of the innovation. They added in Gears 4, the last iteration, they switched the protagonist from a male to a female protagonist.
Fantastic.
Right. I guess.
Good, because ladies can shoot guns too.
Yeah, like half of them do.
Half of them sometimes might, or may not. Yeah.
What do you got?
I got some Terminator stuff, and I got some Jeremy Renner stuff, and I got some Mandalorian stuff.
All right, you got to tell me the truth. Is he paying you? Are you getting a kickback
Jeremy
from the
Renner
store?
Is not paying me to advertise the Jeremy Renner store on Amazon.com.
This is the second week in a row you said that exact statement. I'm thinking you're lying to me, bro. Are you lying to me?
We do not have a sponsor, wink, wink, in Jeremy Renner. And his camping Amazon store. Apparently he had an app that was connected to the store.
What?
Its own app that you could download to your phone.
This guy's a little bit more entrepreneurial than I really first knew about.
He's got music. He's got a camping store. He's got his own app to connect to the camping store.
Avengers money? I guess Avengers money lets you do a lot of things, bro.
But he had to shut the app down.
Why did he have to shut the app down?
Edgelord trolls.
What does that mean?
It just means trolls. They got him. They basically went on and placed so many fake orders or whatever and got it shut down.
The app? They shut his app down?
What was intended to be a place for fans to connect with each other, Jeremy Renner wrote, has turned into a place that is everything I detest and can't or won't condone. And so he shut it down.
You know what? Say what you want about the guy. Can't find a haircut that makes him look decent. That's not me. That's clearly from our friend Joe. Because Jeremy, I love the hair. I think the hair. I like the changing shapes. I love the asymmetry of it all. Keep going, bro. Is what I'm saying. Keep going.
Yeah, I don't. You can't, come on,
Come on, what? Go ahead. Speak on.
I don't know. Is there any Hollywood celebrity that could do this and people would be like, yeah, we're on board and we agree?
I think Dave Chappelle could. Clearly. Do you hear what the Rotten Tomato thing happened?
No.
The critics scored his latest special some abysmal score.
They're we'll give it a 2.
Yeah, and then I guess I don't use Rotten Tomato. I don't read critiques for things, but he had a 99% audience rating on Rotten Tomato.
Yeah,
99%.
I feel like that was just the audience though in on the special that rated it. Wasn't
so you don't think that's
I'm kidding. Because they loved it. The audience loved it. If there was anybody who had an issue with it, nobody was like, "Excuse me."
Did you watch the because there was a special and then they had the.
I like the after stuff better.
Me too. It was more personal and it was more interactive. The audience got to not physically, but they were able to engage Dave in a conversation rather than him come out and actually talk to the audience. And I don't know in recent history very many comedians at that level who have done that. Given their audience that level of access to them.
It made me rethink and not change my mind too much about some things, and also change my mind about other things. Because I saw it twice. I saw it once after you. Because if you're listening to this, Joe and Rob saw it last week and they talked about it. I hadn't seen it, so that night I watched it, and then 2 days later I watched it again with Laurel, my wife, and so I watched it the first time all the way through with those extra little scenes. And we can talk about it now, or we can wait if you want. Whatever.
Let's wait. I mean, you were into it this week, right?
Yeah, I was into it for the most part, but I have thoughts on it.
Okay, well then that's perfect for what you were into. We'll save that till we get there. What else you got?
On the question of would anybody ever troll? Yeah, I guess you're right. Nobody would troll Dave Chappelle. They might.
No, they would definitely troll him, but he definitely deals with hecklers all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, been doing comedy almost 30 years of his life.
He's a pro.
He's a pro at that kind of thing.
That's why I don't do stand up. Is because like I feel like a heckler would heckle me and I'd be like, okay,
I'm broken. I can't do this.
I'm leaving.
I've actually was talking to some of my coworkers recently. I think I want to try stand up in 2020.
You should. Joe did it, and Joe's really good at it.
I believe that. Joe's a funny motherfucker. Yeah. Joe's hilarious.
And we all encouraged him. Keep going. Keep doing more.
I think he should. I think, Joe, if you're listening, I think you should definitely consider doing stand up comedy.
And I think he is still doing stand up. It's just he's doing it all the time now. His life is one big stand up routine. That's what you got to do. You got to come in and start by, hey, Larry, I got some new jokes.
I'm not a writer. That is my problem. I would just love to just stand up, do stand up in a way that is just completely improvisational, like off the top of like a lot of times like what we get into, like
right.
I'll just come in with a thought on something and then talk for 5, 10. My goal is to have a solid 10.
So you want to do a live show of what we into in front of a live studio audience?
That would be dope.
It would be dope.
That'd be fucking. I mean, wouldn't you like doing this live? So I was trying to talk. So when I saw Joe's movie the other week, I guess last week, I ran into Chapo's sister Demetria.
Yeah.
And she was listening. She had been
really?
listening. Yeah.
Oh, sweet. Hi.
So that was really cool, and we got to talking about it. And she was like, you guys are. It's like going to have beers with my friends, or like going to have beers with someone else's friends, and kind of like being at the table. But her she had a critique. She's like, it was a Stranger Things episode that she was listening to, because I guess she had just watched it, and she said, we meandered around so much. She found herself screaming at like Joe, just talk about Stranger Things, you sons of bitches.
Well, that's to her credit. That's what she does when you go out with her in real life too. She just screams a lot, and we just ignore her.
That's not me saying that.
We will not talk about Stranger Things, Demetria. Yeah. What were we talking about?
Well,
Dave Chappelle, Jeremy Renner, they shut down his app.
I was actually trying to move on to some other news, but
like seriously though, I mean,
speak on it.
I don't know. Like if you do something like that, just like have a sense of humor about it.
Well, I feel like when you're talking about now, I think like nobody has a sense of humor about anything. Like you can't make a joke about anything.
Well, okay.
Anything. It's
yes.
Like if you make a joke, you have to then brace yourself for someone being like, "That's not funny," or "I'm offended," or I know it.
You're right, because it goes to the New York Times editor guy that was called a bedbug by some random tweeter, and like he basically wrote the guy's like a boss at the university the guy worked for. No, tried to essentially. And none of that worked. It all backfired. The Twitter, it went viral. Everybody was making fun of this guy. You didn't hear about any of this?
No.
So then he's a writer for New York Times. I think an op-ed writer. And so I don't remember.
And then he got butthurt when some guy said something about him.
Yeah, so he gets butthurt, right? He tries to get the guy fired through the university, sort of. He just basically says, I'm a pretty nice guy. If you want to come to my house and meet my wife and like blah 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 blah,
What did he say about this guy?
You'll see that I'm a real person. You can't just call me a bedbug and like, you know what I mean? Whatever.
Really?
So then he goes. So then all of the internet makes fun of him. You know what I mean? And instead of just being like, you know what, forget it, I'm done.
You call me a bed bug? Okay, great. Yeah. I'm a bed bug. I'm a super bug that you can't kill. That's awesome.
So then he goes on to write this op-ed about how the Nazis used insect terminology to like basically label the Jews.
Oh my god. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. And that goes even worse for him. And we're still in it. It's still there.
When did this happen? Was this recent?
And it's really just a guy who could have just been like, yeah, there's one Twitter guy, and this tweet got no retweets. Like 14 people had like viewed it.
He's like, I'm in New York.
He got tagged
in the New York
in it.
Times. Then, oh my goodness.
And then he tried to
use me a bed bug.
He tried to use his power of the New York Times to get this guy in trouble.
It seems petty as fuck.
It is,
and
petty
I feel
as
like
fuck.
You deserve dude, you work for the New York Times. Dude, why even stoop that low to even respond to something like that? I don't know, man. I feel like if at the end of the day I'm making a decent enough check and I can sleep well, eat well, drink well, smoke well.
Call me whatever you want.
Call me whatever the fuck you want. Call me Susan. I don't give a fuck. You know what I'm saying? But like this is where things are different. Things have changed. And actually, like, when we get to talking about it, I feel like knowing that kind of changed how I watched this movie that we saw.
Brett Stevens is the guy's name. I just looked him up.
Brett Stevens?
Yeah, that's the guy who called a bed bug and then just like took it to war, of course, and lost.
Brett, a guy named had to be a white guy.
Of course, it's a white guy.
I was hoping. I was actually in my mind. I was like, please don't let it be a white guy, because it just epitomizes all. Well, like it's like one of the, like, if you didn't know, like, if you just showed up on the plane and you didn't know white people at all, it'd be one of the things that you could use to just be like, don't like white people, and this is why.
Yes. Well, also, and then this is, I think this is probably true. If he was a person of color, and then he wrote an op-ed about being called a bedbug by a white guy, people would take it seriously.
Oh yeah.
People would be like, whoa, wait a minute.
Wait a minute.
You can't
say that. Mm-mm. That's almost like saying the N-word.
We're just saying, Brett Stevens, we're here with you.
No,
but man, pick your battles, bro.
Exactly, bro. Read the room. Come on, man. You're a New York Times writer. You don't have to do that.
Linda Hamilton needs your help.
Oh, is it? Did you read that article too?
Yes.
Oh my God! I was like, "Yo, Linda, girl, was that self-imposed though? You think?"
Well, okay.
Well, tell people what we're talking about first.
So Linda Hamilton comes out and says that she's been celibate for more than 15 years. "Quote: I love my alone time."
Look, I get that. I feel her on that, because I've been celibate
for 20 minutes.
No, in chunks of there've been chunks of my life where I've been celibate for long periods of time, but 15
There's been times I wish I was celibate.
Never that. Not one time in my life would I was ever like, man, I wish I had less sex.
I'll try marriage.
Don't you put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby. Don't you put that evil on me.
Turn up the compressor way up on that part.
Oh my God.
Yes. So.
But yeah, that sounds mad self-imposed though, because I feel like if Linda Hamilton wanted the D, she could get the D.
She says, "I have a very romantic relationship with my world every day and the people who are in it."
See, now when you say some shit like that, especially coming out out of a celebrity's mouth like that, it sounds like she's out there fucking trees. That's what it sounds like.
So you know she's married to James Cameron.
Wait, is she still married to James Cameron?
It was a 7-year relationship.
That's what I thought. I was like, I didn't think they were still married.
No.
Like they got together over Terminator.
Oh, it was a short-lived marriage from 97 to 99, but they were in a 7-year relationship prior to that. So 7 years altogether. They dated for 5 years, then they got married for 2, and then they divorced.
Oh wow, that's actually interesting. I didn't know that.
And I
thought they were just kind of like, I thought, like, there was a quote I was reading recently about this, to the effect of, basically, he's like, I fell in love with her because I thought she was more like the character of Sarah Connor than she actually was.
That's what she said.
Oh, that's what she said.
Yeah. It would have been better if he said it.
I thought they were quoting him. The article that I was reading attributed that quote to him, but that's what she said.
That's what she said. I read it too. I'm looking for it right now, but yeah, he did not say that, because that would be like me writing a character in a play, and this happens to writers, right? I know a few writers who are playwrights who have dated their main actor who they met by casting that actor in the role of a character that's clearly like...
What do you think about that?
I can see how it happens.
Because, your boy Woody was back in the news recently based on some shit that his homegirl Scarlett Johansson...
Who, Woody Harrelson?
Yeah, no, Woody...
Woody Guthrie?
Like the Woody Guthrie.
Woody from Toy Story?
Allen, motherfucker. Allen.
Oh, Woody Allen, yeah. I didn't even read that.
You didn't?
No.
I started to. I was starting to read it because of... I was having a conversation with somebody about Scarlett Johansson recently, and it kind of brought it back into focus for me on how, like, as much as I like her as an actress, I don't think she's that...
Scarlett.
I'm gonna leave it alone. Because in the off chance that I meet her one day and, like, I'm definitely gonna try to.
I was shushing Scarlett not to say anything stupid.
I want to maybe try to have sex with Scarlett Johansson at some point. And
maybe.
I don't want to fuck up my chances.
Don't mess it up.
Untoward. About her right now.
She could probably say almost anything and come
and
see you
spit
later
on my face and then later be like, "You want to?" I'm like,
right.
Which broom closet?
Why does she have to say something? I don't understand.
And that's the thing. Like, what? I think she was doing an interview for Entertainment or one of these publications, and I don't know how. I guess he came up because of, like, I guess didn't he have like a new movie that Amazon kind of shelved like almost immediately?
Probably. I mean,
based on him being him,
he has consistently worked. You know what I mean? Over the last decade, when all of these allegations have come out.
Well, I think Farrow was it Mia Farrow? Is that the daughter that?
Yeah, Mia Farrow. Yeah.
Well, that storm got kind of kicked up recently, and I guess this interviewer,
that was like 2 years ago. Yeah.
I guess this interviewer was like, "Hey, you've worked with Woody a bunch. What are your thoughts on this and the climate and blah 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 blah?" And she goes on this tangent to say that. She comes out and says, "I believe Woody."
Right.
She's like, "I've asked him about it directly. We're very close based on he's directed me a bunch of times in these films. ... And I believe him."
A lot of people do. And here's a list of the people in his new movie who believe him. This is from 2019. His movie A Rainy Day in New York, rated PG-13.
Yeah, that's the one that Amazon shelved.
Right. So Timothy Chalamet or Chalamet.
Chalamet.
Yeah.
It sounds French, so
you know what I'm talking about, right? Yeah, he was, Timothy. Good old Timothy.
Timmy.
Chalamet. And I remembered my Chalamet. He was in that other movie, Call Me By Your Name, Lady Bird, Beautiful Boy, Interstellar. Tom, 15 years old Tom from Interstellar. Whatever.
He's a face.
He's a face. Liev Schreiber also believes him because Liev Schreiber's in that movie.
Okay.
Rainy Day in New York. Elle Fanning.
Oh.
Kelly Rohrbach.
Wait, and did all of them come out and say they believe him, or are you saying they believe him based on the fact that they worked with him in this movie?
Well, it's sort of like I should have a better metaphor. If you come out, it's like working for the Nazis, but being like, I'm not a Nazi, I just work for Hitler. Maybe not quite that extreme.
No, yeah, I don't know.
But if there's all these allegations against Woody Allen, right? And you continue to make movies with him, especially when you're like Liev Schreiber or Selena Gomez
or Jude Law
Fanning. Or Elle Fanning. These guys can get roles. They could pass on this for a second. So they choose to do this because they want to do it.
Right.
And they're probably not getting paid much. So yeah, they believe him. They don't believe that he's a child molester, that he molested Mia Farrow.
Or he was a predator.
Right. You don't go to Bill Cosby and be like, hey, you want to make like a new comedy album?
Oh, they're never going to do that.
You know what I mean?
That's
like,
not going to happen.
And then be like, no, I support the victims of Bill Cosby.
Yeah, but I think in the Cosby thing is a little... It's different. It's different.
Well, he has now been tried and convicted. Yeah.
Whereas Woody was tried in the court of public opinion, but he was never actually convicted of anything.
Yeah.
Untoward. And for a long time, he's basically said, I'm innocent of this stuff.
Yeah.
Because he's been. I feel like of these people who have been accused of this thing. I mean, other than Michael Jackson, He's been under the microscope longer than any of these cats.
Yeah, and I used to go back and forth with Woody Allen, and finally did a lot of reading, a lot of read his side of it, read Mia Farrow's side of it, heard New York Times articles. I've also read an article in New York Magazine from his wife. I forget her name. Oh gosh. Remember he married his 18-year-old stepdaughter,
the Asian
or adopted
one, right?
daughter, yeah, whatever. I can't think.
Sun Yi?
Yeah, something like that, right?
Something like that?
Yeah. I read hers. Hers was also a very convincing portrayal of it all.
And
they were both Mia Farrow and her portrayals of Woody Allen are both equally convincing.
In the way that he did what they both said he did?
Yes. Whereas Mia Farrow is saying, yes, he molested me, and Sun Yi, or Sun, whatever her name is basically saying, no, he didn't do it. Mia Farrow's was crazy. Yeah. Basically. So I just got to a point where I was like, you know what, morally, I don't know if... I don't want to be on the wrong side of it, so I just don't support Woody Allen's movies anymore.
Interesting.
He's a millionaire filmmaker.
He doesn't need
who's made 30 plus movies.
Right.
I don't need to watch his
new shit
or his old shit. Like, I'm okay with that. It's gone.
See, I feel like that's a slippery slope, because I mean,
sure, it's got to be.
Because we've talked about this on the podcast before, like R. Kelly, the Michael Jackson.
Sure.
Do you take those songs out of the rotation in your house?
I almost bought a Michael Jackson record the other day,
but you didn't, based on what your feelings about.
Oh no, it's just too expensive.
Oh, okay. Well, this
things are worth what they're worth. It has nothing to do with like.
This is kind of where, I don't know. I mean, you make a very strong argument, because I was saying I wouldn't take R. Kelly's music out of the rotation in my world, but any new shit that he would do, I'm not gonna support. Like, if he came out with a new album, I'm not gonna be jamming that.
It also depends how the old shit makes you feel. If I'm sitting there watching a Woody Allen movie, thinking maybe I'm supporting a guy who molested his daughter, you know what I mean? Daughters. That's not going to be fun. You know what I mean?
Ugh.
So yeah, same with R. Kelly. If an R. Kelly song comes on, or even a Michael Jackson song, if I can change the channel or turn it off, I probably will.
Really?
Because just that feeling. It's reminding me of
I don't know, because every time Thriller comes on, I'm playing that too, start to finish. You got Vincent Price. You got I don't. And especially when you're talking about a guy who was never actually convicted, and I know this goes into like
this was a gray, and also the Dave Chappelle thing,
right?
Do you think he was serious?
No.
Okay, we'll get back to
that was 100% a joke.
Yeah, when we get to what we into, we'll talk about Dave Chappelle.
Okay,
because that's how I feel too.
No, I think anything that a motherfucker says on a stage on a platform like that is a joke. Yeah. It's not. I mean, unless you're Michael Richards.
Well, this is what I'm talking about.
Unless you're Michael Richards, which he clearly wasn't telling a joke.
Bedbug is only offensive depending on who it's coming from and who it's being called a bedbug. Yeah, who's it directed to? Exactly. Yeah. What were we talking about? So Linda Hamilton, you're gonna go rescue her. Yeah, not that she needs rescuing.
I mean, not that she needs, but like Linda, girl, if it seems self-imposed. Two, like, why? How did that even come up? What was the question that the reporter or the interviewer asked her to be like? Oh yeah, I've been, but because she's been single now. I mean, that was a long time ago with the marriage to Cameron. She's been by herself ever since then.
Yes.
So this 15-year...
I think they were just interviewing her, and they're like, so who's in your life? Who you got? Who's your boo?
I ain't fucking nobody. She's like, I fuck the world every day.
They were like, nobody? I fuck the world. I fuck my plants.
She's like, I fuck trees. I fuck the ground, the cage.
Fuck my couch.
I fuck my couch regularly because fuck your couch, Dave Chappelle.
See this espresso maker? I fuck this too. Everything. This is my world.
It just seems like a very odd headline to have, like... To sort of promote the movie that she came out of retirement to do. They're like, Linda Hamilton celebrates celibacy for 15 years. What the fuck? What?
Oh, and here's the quote. Reflecting on her relationship with Cameron, Hamilton said she believes the director actually fell in love with Sarah Connor instead of her, but concealed that they were terribly mix-matched as a couple.
No, that wasn't the quote that I read.
Okay.
Like, the quote that I read was...
James Cameron's like, she's Sarah Connor!
Yeah, it was in quotations, and it
and I love her.
It was something to the effect of, the relationship was really great, and I really did love her, but I think I fell in love with what I thought the character of.
Okay.
Sarah. Yeah, I think it was an act. I think he did say that shit.
Yeah, I remember when we were doing In the Room. Like, one, I thought Susie was amazing in it. Yeah, two, I had written this character that was supposed to be kind of like the love interest of the main protagonist, who had a lot of similarities sort of to me. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So there was definitely like this gray sort of feeling of like, I remember recognizing that this I could see how people could get in trouble for this. Because you're writing a fictional character based on all of these things that you want.
And then an actress, their job is to portray that, and so you fall in love with that portrayal, and idolize or pedestalize this person in that way because they kind of fill out things.
You pedophilize them is what you're trying to say.
No, I was not trying to say that. Not at all. Ugh.
Did you like the Dark Fate preview that we saw last night?
Yes, I did.
For it?
Yes, for it?
Yeah. They showed the Terminator Dark Fate preview trailer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you said before it.
Yeah, before it.
I thought it was, yes, I did.
Yeah.
I saw the trailer earlier in the week. Like most of those trailers that they showed for it, I had already seen.
Yeah.
The only ones I didn't see were the ones with your boy Anthony B. and Bree and Jamie. All Rise.
What is it called?
It was called All Rise, I believe, and it's based on the true story. And he's like a lawyer.
They were kind of like they were like midnight previews. Like they were like, because Terminator Dark Fate felt like the right kind of preview for it. Mm-hmm. Then there were a lot of like social issue movie previews, like 4 in a row.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah. There was the Hustlers trailer.
That looked good.
That looked awesome. There was. And I thought you would have written all these down because typically
I normally do, but I was like, forget it. It's 11 o'clock at night and I'm eating popcorn.
It was Hustlers, All Rise, Terminator Dark Fate.
It's like 6 other previews. I mean, there were so many previews at 11 o'clock at night.
There was that one with the kid and Jeffrey Wright is producing it.
Nas is in it.
And Nas is in it, yeah. I think that one is called All Rise.
Because I turned to you and I was like, yes, because Nazir Jones is known for his fine acting.
And I turned to you and I was like, actually, I think he'll probably kill that because that shit looks like something like that Nas would know especially well.
If he's matured.
If he's matured, the motherfucker's 50.
Go back and watch Belly.
Yeah, that was fucking 20 years ago.
Isn't he also in King of New York? I think he's in it with Christopher Walken. I feel like he's in that one too.
I don't remember that one.
Whatever.
I don't remember King of New York. But yeah, fucking Belly was like 20 fucking years ago. I
know. It's longer than that. I think it was like 30 years ago.
DMX
seriously.
was still like,
he was still a person,
and not addicted to crack.
Oh, did he get addicted to crack?
Oh yeah, he got addicted to crack.
Oh man.
Yeah, there was a point in Darkman's career where he looked emaciated, and he's not a big dude.
Yeah,
he's like Kevin Hart size. He's tiny. Really? He's like your height.
Yes, humongous.
Giant
among men.
I mean, when you saw him back in the day, Rough Rider Anthem, he looked like he was 6 feet something. I thought the motherfucker was as big as me. He's tiny.
So one of the previews before it was Terminator Dark Fate, and recently James Cameron has rewatched or watched for the first time Terminator 3 and all the Terminator movies since Terminator 2. In order to help make this new Terminator a better movie by learning what not to do. Mm-hmm. And I have a quote here from him. He says, one of the things that seemed obvious from looking at the films that came along later was that we would need to get everything back to the basics. That we would need to avoid the mistakes of making things overly complex, and that we needed to avoid stories that jump around in time and one that goes backward and forward in time. Let's keep it simple and the relative unity of time. With a story, let's have the whole thing play out in 36 hours or 48 hours. In the first 2 movies, everything plays out in less than 2 days, so there's energy and momentum. And he talks about rewriting the script and punching the script up. So he's had his hands on with this stuff.
And what have I been saying since we saw initial footage for this? Cameron's back, Hamilton's back, Arnold's back. This is going to be the best Terminator we've seen.
The fact that she's been celibate for 15 years makes me feel like she's been training for 15 years to play
she
this
looks
role
great
again.
In these trailers.
Her hair looks a little too good, though.
I don't care. I love it. I think it's the right amount of camp and ham based on the fact that they've made so many of these movies.
But do you think it's the right amount of product in her hair?
Fuck you. You leave Hamilton's hair out of this. She hasn't had sex for 15 years. Her hair can look like whatever the fuck it wants.
She's like, yeah, I'll come back. I know the whole plot of the movie too.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yes,
watching it last night. You said, I get it. All right, let's hear.
Here is the plot.
Larry predicts time ever.
Dark Fate. Okay, so she has that whole scene where she's like, I was like the mother of the John Connor, and he was gonna save the world, and I destroyed the Terminators, and I changed the future. And then they're like, yeah, but you didn't. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So what's happened is because she changed the future from that version, she changed it to another version where it's a little more later in the timeline. Like humanity doesn't fall that year, it falls later because now it's 2019. So Terminators and technology is a little more advanced. So the same thing happens. They send a protector, whatever that girl's name is, who's got like kind of like the wire under her skin, back to protect.
I think he pulled some of that from Salvation,
right?
The one with Worthington,
yes,
Worthington and Bale,
yes,
because that's basically what that character, Worthington's character, was in that version.
So it's essentially the same exact kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So she comes back to be the protector of this new girl, who's basically the new Sarah Connor, right? Meanwhile, the old Sarah Connor is still alive,
right?
So who's Arnie?
I'm thinking that Arnie must have been. No, because they all got destroyed.
Arnie is a Terminator that they sent back further into the past.
To protect who?
To basically build up arms and build up protection for this new Sarah Connor. Yes. So basically, they send Arnie back 20 years prior to where the movie starts.
Uh-huh.
He has this carpet cleaning business or whatever his business is, or draperies or something like that, and also builds up a whole bunch of weapons. There's shots of them kind of like gearing up and stockpiling. So he gets everything ready.
That's why he's like, I'm gonna help her. Blah blah blah.
Exactly, and that's why he looks old, because he's been there for 20, 30 years already. Yeah,
that's pretty good. Well done.
That's the movie, basically.
Well done.
And then they fight, and hopefully Sarah Connor will die, and hopefully Edward Furlong will not be too fat, and Arnold Schwarzenegger will be destroyed. Because she says at the end, she's like, I'm going to destroy you. I'm going to kill you by the end of this.
And he's like, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Got to. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
All that makes sense.
It sounds good.
Yeah.
Maybe there'll be a few twists and turns in there.
No, I think that's spot on.
Yeah.
Like, I think you hit that pretty much dead bullseye. That's a bullseye for you. Well played. Well, we'll see in a few. When is it? September 20th? It's this month, right?
Yeah. I think. I don't know. Whatever. I can look it up. Hold on. I gotta look up.
Because, my birthday's in
November 1st.
Oh.
We got a month. 1 month. So we got the Joker coming up. We'll watch that, and then we got this.
Right.
And then
Which has been getting a lot of, smoke being blown.
The Joker? Yeah. What did you hear about it?
I heard Oscar contention. I heard, controversy because of the violence.
Yeah, inciting riots.
I've heard a bunch of shit. I heard quotes from Joaquin being like the weight loss for this made him actually go a little mad.
Yeah.
I was like, well, duh, motherfucker. Try not eating for a couple weeks.
I went crazy. It was so weird.
Yeah.
Stop drinking water.
It's called malnutrition, bro.
I was dying.
Don't you think these cheekbones are natural? No, that's called poverty, bro. That's called I got to figure out how I'm going to keep these lights on, motherfucker. But yeah.
Are you excited to see the Joker?
I actually am. I'm excited for a sort of, not a revamping, but a retelling of a character that is well known by a really proficient actor, and it's rated R. Mm-hmm. All those have a great recipe. All the recipe is sound. It's whether the baker, director, pre-production, post-production people, whether the team, the chefs involved can make it all taste good.
Yeah, apparently it does taste good to lots of people.
Real good.
Apparently it tastes so good that it has people running out of the restaurant screaming, "This is so good! You have to eat here!"
And then punching their first stranger that they see.
It's gonna change restaurants.
I was just asking where the bathroom was.
His joke is kind of funny.
Which joke?
When I was a kid, I wanted to do stand up, and nobody told me I was funny.
Okay.
But look at I can't remember.
No one's laughing.
No one's going to laugh at you. Yeah, but look at me now or something like that. Whatever. Is he a funny comedian was going to be my question.
I think that's the whole point. The Joker
isn't funny?
Isn't a funny comedian.
Laurel thinks it's too dark. She says that the Joker's supposed to be lighter and funny and
No. The Joker is supposed to be Batman's opposite.
Right.
He has the brain of Batman, but he's fucking insane.
Mm-hmm. Because Batman's known for his humor, so the Joker has to be very serious. In this world, Batman's hilarious.
Well, there's a character that they created in the last few, I want to say the last couple of years, called the Batman Who Doesn't Laugh, or the Batman Who Laughs.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And it's fucking insane.
Yeah, laughing Batman sounds
it's insane.
Terrifying.
And the character design. Google the Batman Who Laughs, and you'll see what he looks like. Just what he looks like is fucking gnarly.
Batman Who Laughs.
And the graphic novel that was written for that.
Oh yeah, I've seen.
You've seen it.
Yes,
that's the motherfucker.
This was one of the comics I was thinking of that we were talking about a few weeks back, where it looks like they peeled people's skin off their faces for this.
Oh yeah. The Batman Who Laughs kind of reminds me of the Hellraiser movies.
Oh no, I was thinking something else, but this looks really crazy too.
It's insane. And it's basically like it's an alternate. It's a Batman from another Earth.
Yeah, alternate reality.
Yeah. And he meets up with our reality's Batman, and fucking madness ensues. The whole shit is crazy.
See, that's the kind of movies that I feel like we need.
Well, I feel like those are the kind of movies that the DC Animation has been sort of producing for the last 10 years, and where they just can't seem to get their live-action properties to fall in line with some of that story work.
Did you see the Harley? You saw the Harley Quinn. It was like so quick. The trailer last night for Harley Quinn. Yeah,
it's Birds of Prey.
The emancipation
it's emancipation of Harley Quinn.
Yeah, I think it's even longer than that. I think there's like two more words in there somewhere.
It seems meh right now. It seems meh.
It's not released online. I came across that. So basically, what it starts, and you think it's the movie It that you're watching. There's like balloons,
there's balloons, and the clown walking forward towards the the foreground.
And he's out of focus, and then when it comes in focus, it's Harley Quinn, and she's like, "Oh, did you think I was somebody else?" or something like that.
No, she goes, she hits the image of the clown with a mallet.
I was too busy eating popcorn.
Yeah,
I wasn't paying attention.
You were too busy getting yourself sick on sugar and butter. But no, she hits the image of the clown all the way, and she says something to the effect of, "Did you think of someone else? I hate clowns," or something like that, or no more clowns, or something.
I'm over clowns. I'm emancipated from clowns. There we go. She gets emancipated from the Joker. I see.
That sounds fun.
I see what this is about. What else you got?
Let me see. Well, some more news from Cyberpunk. The creators, you know how like at the beginning, it's an RPG type game that you can, create your own character at the top of it, right?
Right.
So they're going to offer you non-binary options for your character.
Oh, sweet! So
right?
you pick just non-binary.
Like, I'm going to be X or whatever.
David Bowie.
Yeah.
Which
I thought was kind of not. I don't like. Normally, I would be like, that's kind of pandering and stupid. But I'm like, in a world when you're building a world based on like future technology and everybody's sort of like cyber augmented, like. It makes sense for the world that they're building that they would give players this option, and I think they're probably one of the first video games to do it, which also give them credence. I'm really kind of stoked to see what CD Projekt Red publishers are going to do.
Didn't this come out soon?
No, I think we get it April.
April 16th, 2020.
That's if they don't push it back.
Yeah. I watched some gameplay of it. It looks pretty amazing. And I'm psyched to not play with like some big rugged dude. You know what I mean? Or some, big rugged female.
Right.
I can play with a big rugged it if I want to.
Is that like the clown?
No, just in general. Okay. Just not pronoun neutral there. Do you think they rewrite all the text for that? Or they're just like, because you know how you like sometimes you can change your character, but the text in the game is exactly the same,
right?
They're like, "Hey, Fred," and you're like, clearly not Fred.
It sounds like they're leaning into this because the article says that they're offering skin tones and hairstyles and I think this is just the big push for gender representation,
right? Can I choose Keanu Reeves' gender?
Sure, probably.
No, he's like the mentor. He's like basically Morpheus.
He doesn't exist in the real world. He exists only in your head.
Yeah, cool.
So I just thought that was sort of an interesting thing to do and take for a video game. I feel like video games have to at some point start being a little bit more in tune to the world politically, and socially.
Yes,
and it seems like
unlike comedy specials,
it seems like they are taking See, at least it seems like they're one of the few publishers that are taking the forefront to the time to do that. So,
or they're just being lazy and they're like, we don't want to just
lazy. I think at this point,
I'm kidding.
At this point, to even announce that shit,
like we're not going to draw characters with gender because it takes too much time.
Like after there's just been so much already put out about it for them to even announce this now. Seems like they might have been thinking about it prior to now.
Well,
or maybe not. I don't know.
So Giancarlo Esposito's got a major role reveal for The Mandalorian.
Oh, really?
According to Entertainment Weekly, Esposito will be playing Moff Gideon, a former governor for the Galactic Empire, whose world collapsed following the destruction of the second Death Star. He will be the most powerful of a group of characters that include IG-11, played by Taika Waititi, Greef Karga, played by Carl Weathers, and Cara Dune, played by Gina Carano.
That sounds awesome.
So it's a quote, he's an Imperial remnant of a very fine officer who then switches to become sort of the guardian of the people. Oh, so he's like a bad guy who goes good. Oh, I get it.
That sounds cool.
Yeah, cool.
And fucking Giancarlo doesn't do garbage.
Oh, he's so good.
He is so good.
So good. Must be, yeah. I mean, he's been working forever.
You've seen him in everything.
But finally getting some, like, major things.
Yeah, some really... I mean, I think... I feel like I want to say that Breaking Bad was kind of like his like gauntlet to the rest of his career, being like, yo, I'm the fucking shit and here's how I prove it, because his resume just goes crazy from there. He does, I think he did most of the Maze Runner movies. And then
I watched the first one. I kind of like
those
the
were
first
alright.
one.
They ended up being a series of movies that were built on themselves, so you had to watch them in sort of succession to really get the overall what they were going for. And I liked it. Yeah. I liked the story.
Yeah, they're from the books. The books were apparently better.
Weren't they young?
Yeah, young adult.
They were YA, right?
Yeah. I always love how, like, when adults watch, like, young adult movies or movies based on young adult novels, and they're like, they get all up, like, cranky about it. Right? This is no good. It's unbelievable, and blah 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 blah. It's like people who, like, were trashing Twilight. I'm like, they were young adult novels, you guys.
Well,
like,
we were talking about a little bit about Dark Crystal.
Yeah.
No, we weren't. It was another friend of mine. Another friend of mine brought it up, and he was like, I heard it was pretty bad, the story, and I was like, where'd you hear that from? And he was like, some article I was reading. I was like, no, they got that absolutely wrong. Yeah. It 100. Well, when we get to
check out our next episode. We'll be talking about it. I do have one last piece of news that I almost missed. I'm glad I didn't.
Okay.
So Jonathan Frakes, he's coming back for Picard, right? And he has admitted that he had anxiety attacks over his return to Star Trek.
You say why?
Yeah, well, he said, quote, I hadn't acted in a long, long time. I hadn't played Riker in 18 years, and I've been very fortunate to be busy directing. I acted briefly in a movie in Winnipeg about 10 years ago, and I had a major anxiety attack because, for whatever reason, I'd forgotten how to act. I forgot how to act. It was not a pretty picture for a few hours, and then I got my shit together and ended up doing fine. He says, I had just directed 2 episodes of Picard with Sir Patrick, and as I said, his acting muscle was well-toned. And Marina Sirtis, who plays Deanna Troi, had just closed, having starred in a play in the West End in London. So I knew that she was going to be in good form. So I was a nervous wreck. It ended up going very well, but don't let anybody tell you that it's like getting back on a bike. That's bullshit. That's acting bullshit. What do you say?
I don't know. I've actually been off the bike almost 9 months now.
Yeah, no.
Well, I mean, anything like super choice and super meaty.
Yeah.
I mean, I've done a bunch of different readings and stuff like that, but like building a character from scratch, being in the room 8 hours a day, it's been a couple months, almost a year.
And I feel like any Star Trek Next Generation fan, which would be the fan for Jonathan Frakes, Frakes, excuse me, is not going to care what he looks like. You know, he's not going to care like.
Wait, was that part of his concern that he didn't look like Riker?
Maybe that's my interpretation, is that he's older now. It's been 18 years. He has lost a lot of hair. He's gained some weight. He hasn't acted. So yeah, when I say looks, but I mean like how he actually portrays the character. Like, we just want him basically to come back.
See, I feel like
and be Riker.
I feel like when you have a synergy with a group of people playing, a role that you for a while. I feel like once you get that group back together, it's not New York, New York.
You know every podcast recorded in New York,
New York,
under a certain budget, because there's always traffic.
New York, New York. I feel like
that'll keep going too. I guarantee somebody's double parked. Somebody needs to get around. That guy's just going to sit there and blare his horn for the next 20 minutes.
Nah, I don't even remember my point.
Jonathan Frakes, when you get back together with a group of actors.
I feel like when you get back into the room with that same group, it's. I don't think it's very difficult to pick that synergy and that magic that you once held back up again.
You told me the same thing about orgies.
I did, because it is. They are.
Yeah.
I mean, you just got to get your finger in enough pies, and it get you right back into the sex swing of things.
Did you say get your fingers in enough pies?
Is this not the trust tree any longer? I thought we were discussing. You brought it up. I mean, I see you snickering over there, but this is the man who was really, the butt con guy.
What would happen to you as an actor if you didn't act for, let's just say, 10 years? No acting, but you were in the scene. You were directing other actors.
See, I don't know. I disagree with Frakes on this one. I think his anxiety probably came from insecurity in his own about his looks and stuff like that. Like how you were saying, he's gotten fatter. I think it was self-imposed.
He looks good.
Yeah, I promise you he looks good. Everybody from that show looks good.
He just looks old and gray. Yeah, that's all.
Yeah, and plus he's had money. Like those Star Trek Next Generation syndication checks don't get that small over time. He's lived a good life. He's been directing actors. He's never stopped working, and even in the capacity that he wasn't acting, he was still in direct contact with actors. So, like for me, I don't understand I don't understand that. I don't understand that fear. Like that's the job. Why are you scared to do the job? You've been doing the job and helping other motherfuckers do the job for the better part of your life now. Why is it now?
Yeah, but one of those dudes is Jean-Luc Picard.
Sir
Patrick Stewart.
That's I mean, see, that's that. I'll be like, yo, give me just 2 minutes in the room with that motherfucker. It'd be great. That's. And I mean, it's not like they don't know each other. They spent 7 years doing the show together.
Yeah,
7 years.
They know each other.
They know each other.
They know each other.
You know what I'm saying? So
once you put your fingers in pies, once you put your finger in somebody's pie,
it's like it's like riding a bike. Once you put enough fingers in those pies, man, you pedal, pedal, pedal,
pedal, pedal, pedal. He says that's bullshit though.
Well,
there's also a super cut of him sitting down. Do you know exactly how he sits down?
No, is it weird?
If you go to YouTube,
but he definitely I know the Frakes walk. He has that sideways shoulder.
And he's always slouching. But there's a super cut. I'm gonna do it, taking off my headphones and showing.
All right, shit got real out here. He walked away from the mic.
You'll know what his me does season. He comes in, he goes, leg over the back of the seat.
Yeah, he's an unorthodox sitter. He's a very unorthodox.
Even when it's got like
sitter.
a high rise back.
He'll do that long kick leg over like he's straddling a motorcycle
and then
space.
slouch.
I always like the sort of Frakes. Frakes, you got me saying it. Frakes. He had this interesting gait. The way he would walk, he kind of he kind of walks like a samurai or like a ninja. Like he keeps his body small. He's like, I'm almost the smallest target I can be.
Yeah.
Like you're never gonna see me square on. You're always gonna catch me on the shoulder edge. Yeah.
You know the answer to this question. Is the uniform pull down? Mm-hmm. Is that new to Next Generation, or did Captain Kirk do that in the original Star Trek?
I believe I've seen it in the original, but it was, I think it was more of a choice in the original, whereas I think in this one
it's necessary.
It's necessary based on how the costumes were.
Their costume just keeps getting bunched up around their neck.
So especially when you're dealing with a military style uniform with a very rigid high collar, when you're buttoned way up here. The minute you sit down, that shit just wants to crumple up. So like standing up, you got to pull that shit down every time. I feel like in Next Generation it was necessity, whereas like when it happened in the original, it was a choice.
A choice, yeah. It was a Picard decision.
There
were whole episodes that were just ended in silence with him just like
pulling
down like, good day to you, sir. Pull down the uniform. Engage. Pull down the uniform. Make it so. Pull down the uniform.
That's great.
All right. You got anything else? Somebody else has apparently got something. No, okay. Nothing. It's bullshit.
Yeah, no, I think as far as the news goes, I mean, no. Nintendo had a bunch of stuff. I think we covered all of it.
Overwatch is coming to the Switch.
That's right. Yeah. That was the other one.
That was the other one. Link's Awakening is coming in a month or so.
We talked about that last week. Remember our 14 games coming in September. September is supposed to be a really game-heavy month. But I'm not... The only one I'm really kind of interested in picking up this month is probably Borderlands. Borderlands 3.
I don't know if I'm into anything. I'm not. I'm going through one of my phases where I'm not into video games. It happens.
I'm kind of feeling that myself, especially like... I was like, I haven't played Destiny 2 in a while. Maybe I should log in and see if their DLC is cheap. And, it's a really good first person. Yeah. Shoot you in the face, waste of time. But I was like, man. I mean, it's basically the same.
Yeah. It's kind of rare for us.
Yeah, it's a lull. Like I'm really only excited for a few titles, and they're not coming for a while.
It's almost like Cyberpunk 2077 needs to come out right now.
If it came out right now, it would be what I would be playing. Yeah. Or even Ghost Recon. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, that was good too.
But also won't be seeing that for a while.
Final Fantasy Remake isn't until Christmas.
And you want that one?
Yeah, I want that one. Okay. I'm gonna try to get through 7 before that. I'm rounding the corner on that one.
Okay.
But I have slowed down on it. Mm-hmm.
Well, that's not bad. I mean, I'd love to play it again, but I don't know if I'm not as invested in that old way of looking at games. Mm-hmm. Like, there's been a bunch of really good, like, Metroidvania style games that have come out.
Tons of them.
And they all look, pretty decent. But I'm like, do I want to invest, the 12, 15 hours to get through it?
Maybe not. But if it was free. Wait for the PlayStation. What were the PlayStation story? Oh, Batman Dark. That's what I'll play. I'll play the Batman game. Yeah,
that's great. I only haven't picked it back up because I'm pretty much collected everything.
It's because you're $100 in the hole from it.
I'm $80 in the hole from it, and I pretty much already, other than like all of like the DLC racetrack things. There's a bunch of races that I haven't, gotten complete goals on or whatever. But I pretty much beat that to death.
Yeah.
It's a great game. It's a lot of fun.
I think we've beat this podcasting episode to death.
Well, just the news section of it.
Just the news.
Well, and when you got your fingers in all these pies, man, it takes time to get. You got to unpluck those fingers. You know
what they say. Once you've had somebody's finger in your pie, you never forget it.
Whoa. Well, then you should close your kitchen doors a little bit more often, player.
It's about synergy.
I think it's about yeast.
Come back next week for our episode on 2019's It, and we'll talk about more fingers in pies, possibly the kids' fingers in each other's pies, or not.
It colored that whole movie for me.
It ruined it for you.
Just terribly.
I woke up feeling like I liked it.
Did you?
Yeah.
And I actually wondered if maybe we should hold off recording for the weekend so we could all kind of like simmer with it.
Yeah.
Because I'm still like, it's very close to me, and I'm still like, no, man, I don't know. I liked it, but I didn't like it.
Okay.
And it's based off of knowing more about it than I initially did going in.
Yeah. Well, let's go away for a while and then come back and record again.
All right, well, I'm going to go to your fridge and get a beer.
Perfect. I'm going to go to the bathroom.
You baby bladdered bastard.
Everybody knows.
Alliteration!
This is everybody's time to go use the bathroom.
That's bullshit.
They can do it if they want.
Bullshit.